A little
right?
burned. Yeah. A little sunburned.
A little sunburned.
Well, I can't wait to get a little recap of your trip out there. But also, before we head out to the heart of the Midwest virtually tonight, let's have a look back at what happened during round 6 at the virtual Richmond Raceway, where Vicente Salas dominated, drove it home for his first career win during his rookie year.
The field going to be in the hands of the 55 of Vicente Salas as we say, let's go short track racing at Richmond.
You mentioned Jimmy Mullis came across the radio and apologized to Chris, just getting into the corner right there, and just that little bit of a touch.
It's an early jump, though, for Salas. We're racing 54 laps down.
Malik Ray, and sideways he goes. Oh, Femi gets into it right at the end. You've got enough sets of tires down here, and you can go, as we saw with the Jesus race analysis, you can go halfway. And
the green flag flies. We are back underway. And right there, catches the fence and comes down.
There's a little more smoke, little slide, and I think we're gonna, oh, maybe not. It's caught me around. And
that 3 car in the mix as well, and a caution flag. And a caution flag again behind the leaders. Okay, that caution at 4 laps to go means we will have to extend this race for an overtime restart. Salas and Maines on the front row. Green flag in the air, 2 laps to go. In just his 6th career start, Vicente Salas going to come off of the final corner. The first win for Space Station Gaming and his first career Coke Series win. Vicente Salas, your winner at Richmond.
All right, you heard it there. In just his 6th career start, Vicente Salas took those checkers. It was not even close. He was also the first driver ever to lead every single lap for 203 laps on the oval. Stayed clean, made it look really easy. Let's go to our panel of experts, Brandon Cattell, Michael Guerrilla, Chris Overland, for their thoughts on the round of 6. Michael, what'd you think?
Well, you know, Amy, the biggest thing that I took away from Richmond was just the fact of track position and location. Location is where it all started from. Qualifying meant a lot to these guys, and it really meant how you were going to fare in the race. When it came down to it, all but 3 drivers who started outside the top 10 made it inside the top 10 at the end of the race. So that's a crazy fact, in the fact that these guys, only a few of them make their way up to the front, but those who started up front stayed up front, and it really in the back. And it really made a difference when it came down to it, just because it was so difficult to pass, and it made a difference in the race that led to Vicente taking the win.
Absolutely. And man, it was a domination too, I'd say. Chris, what'd you think about Richmond?
Well, you know, the biggest takeaway that I have is throughout the whole year, perhaps, that definitely translated over to Richmond. The pressure of making the playoffs is unbelievable, and pressure creates diamonds, and we found a diamond in the rough with Vicente. And I mean, he said that he put in tens of thousands of laps, and you know, we had some veteran drivers in this series that are just not panning out. Real Falla 38th in points at the moment. So the pressure burst pipes. It also creates diamonds. Vicente Salas got his diamond last week.
Absolutely. And we've had a couple of new gyms this year in Victory Lane, all new gyms, actually. Brandon, your thoughts on round 6?
Chris, I don't know why you're talking so bad about Ray there. But yeah, when I look at this season so far, we're halfway through. We're getting close to the playoffs, guys, believe it or not. I'm looking at some of the new names. Vicente Salas with Space Station Gaming, and Garrett Maines with Elliott Sadler Esports. They've come out of nowhere here. We're almost home. Everybody is starting to pick up when they need to, but can they hold on? Can they show the strength for the rest of the season here? Hopefully they can, for their luck. Who knows? Who knows what's going to happen? But it's going to be great, and you guys need to tune in every race to see.
Yeah, you don't want to miss it, especially if there's a new person in Victory Lane. Who knows what's going to happen? You're absolutely right. We actually took time to sit down with Salas, who said he put in tens of thousands of hours, like Chris mentioned, of laps last week, and he said that during his post-race interview. He's very excited. Here's what the man with the most recent ticket to the playoffs in hand had to say.
When we were working on the setup Tuesday, Tuesday morning after A Open on Monday night. We kind of got a little bit better, felt like we had a really good piece, worked on qualifying a ton to really set ourselves up for that. And when we got in the race and qualified on the pole, I mean, that was huge, because for me, qualifying on the pole, I mean, I think super comfortable qualifying on the pole, because I know if I mess up and I let somebody go and I let the people pass me, then it's on me, you know. So if I can drive forward and lead the race and lead the show, then, you know, super comfortable. And I think we definitely played our strategy right. There were at the end a bunch of cautions and all that stuff. So I think my crew chief definitely did a good job of keeping us out, bringing us in when we needed to. And at the end of the day, I think our restarts definitely helped us at the end there. So kind of all just shaped up. I think the goal stays the same. We want to win every week, week in, week out. We're going to work just as hard as we did for Richmond. And I think, honestly, us going out there and performing like we did just gives us even more motivation to keep going. So I think we're going to keep pushing forward just like normal. I love to study and research stocks. Might be a little boring, but it gives me some insight into companies. I think the way they study and look at things, the way I can approach companies to gain sponsorship. I also love to exercise, you know, go running, keep the cardio up. I race shifter carts professionally around the nation, which is super fun, and that keeps me, I would say, fit. It's pretty fun, and I think that keeps me mentally prepared for iRacing too. I think iRacing and shifter cart racing kind of go side by side and helping each other. So.
Well, you know, the biggest takeaway I have from that, Vicente, be very careful with your investment portfolio. Their stocks are very volatile at the moment. I know you won some money with that Richmond victory, bud, but be careful. I lost a lot.
Hey, if I was him with that money, I'd be investing right now. I don't care.
Hey,
right.
Investments aside, dude, I mean, the fact that he's shifter kart racing, that takes a lot of just peak performance physically, mentally, all that kind of stuff. So the fact that he's able to compete at a high level in those things is incredible.
Hey, believe it or not, we got the road course coming up. Coda. Vicente is a
might be a
really,
candidate for a
really
win.
good road course ringer, guys. So.
Not every race is for Bobby nowadays.
Yeah, and in just his sixth start, he just sounds so confident. So I feel like he's got a really bright future. So talking about diamonds, he's really bright. We love it here whenever people answer that call to action. And there's more cameos from fans on Countdown to Green headed your way. A lot of you also participating and sharing your rigs out there. We want to see what you're driving out there. So let's see here. We had some fans jumping in using the hashtag eNASCAR. Here's a look at what some of you've got going on. The doctor.
There's Evan, our boy Evan. This wheel looks modified. What is going on? Hold on.
Hey,
Wait.
at least he's got the Coke broadcast on the background.
It does.
That's pretty
yeah.
cool.
You know,
I think it's great.
That's the Logitech wheel transformed into a Formula rig. That's incredible.
Love
He's
the
sawing on that
ingenuity
thing,
here.
literally.
All right, our buddy Vern also gave us another view of his rig. We saw it last week. Turns out he's not in the bat cave. He's in a man cave.
Oh, that's what I was gonna say. But take a look. Take a look. We got Deadpool at the bottom left. Deadpool up there. We got Dale Jr. in a box.
You know,
Wait, is that Deadpool on his shifter?
It might be. Hey, I wonder if he turns on that fireplace when he's racing in the winter.
It's great. All right, Blockville MC. This one freaked me out a little bit.
Yeah, scared of clowns for sure. But I mean, this looks like a left-handed driver. He's got the shifter on the left side. That may be a spin scooter. Spin.app in the bottom right there.
It could be.
Hey, it's only fitting that his name is Blockville after we came from Talladega this past week.
Oh man, we got
this is a
several
good
look at
one from Jack Down Motors.
Now this is dedication right here.
He has a whole show car here. Jimmy Johnson tribute. Jimmy Johnson running some IndyCar races last weekend.
I want to know what this thing's on shocks. All right, and last from our friend Evan Pasoko.
Oh, this guy's not a driver. Get it off the screen.
Yeah, there's no wheel on that desk.
What are we doing?
You know, he
Evan?
had to put the diecast there right alongside to all the iRacing diecast.
Yeah, for those of you who know me outside of this, number 47 down there at the bottom right. Love that.
I'm loving it. I think that's great. Thanks so much, everyone who shared. Tweet us a picture of your rig. We want to show them off during our next show. Use the hashtag eNASCAR and tag iRacing and NASCAR. All right, last weekend, NASCAR went to Talladega. 8 former and current drivers from the eNASCAR Coca-Cola iRacing Series went to enjoy the festivities along. And here's a look at some of their adventures.
Okay, so we're in the Talladega parking lot, and unfortunately for Chris, he's stepped in some ants.
I took 4 steps.
How you feeling, Sadie?
Feeling good. Can't wait to watch cars go fast.
Hell yeah. It's gonna be sick. All right, let's go.
Dude, he's gonna be like,
This is my spotter right here. It's his fault whenever I wreck the field on Tuesday.
Through turn 4 for the first time.
Hey, Junebug. Always going for the lead. Brown Jr. and teammates. He moved them. He moved them.
We're live here from Talladega, and Brad Keselowski won this race.
All the boards worked really well together.
That destroyed the front end.
What are you doing?
Well, the festivities at Talladega have finally ended, and you know, we spent a lot of time with co-drivers, former drivers, teammates, drivers in the eNASCAR Coca-Cola iRacing Series, and one of them is a 4-time champion who's having a down year.
4-time champion?
Yes, he is.
Yeah, he is a 4-time champion.
You would never know the season he's had this year. Ray, talk to us about it.
Well,
Michael,
what's the weekend been like, knowing you have all your sim racing guys you've been with for multiple years, just hanging out?
Yeah, well, I haven't been able to hang out with a bunch of sim racers since Media Day 2020.
Yeah.
15 months ago, you know. So, yeah, it feels like it's been forever, but we're back here, and it's always a great time to see everybody you've been crashing on the internet, and now you get to crash in real life.
Down the highway too, we're passing each other, side drafts, and yeah.
Well, maybe we shouldn't admit to that.
Yeah.
But with that being said, I am Chris Overland here with Ray Alfala for Michael Grillia and Brendan Cattell. This has been the Talladega experience here for the eNASCAR Coca-Cola iRacing Series pre-race show Countdown to Green, presented by Coca-Cola.
We did it! One take!
Well, you know, I wish I could say the ant bites have subsided, but they're still burning on my feet. Definitely want to thank all the people that we went out there and hung out with. It was a great experience.
Hey, let's give a shout out to our buddy Troy who got that video there at the end.
Yeah.
Cameraman, my best friend Troy Lee. Got to thank John Adams and his fiance for all the hospitality out there. Talladega was an absolute blast.
Yeah, you know, guys, it was my first time ever out there, and I gotta say, what an experience, especially with you guys. I mean, that made it even that much better. And the fact that we were all there together, it was pretty sweet.
Hey, I'm a new fan of ants after that.
Hey, they do bite back.
they do bite back.
They did. The sun bit me, the ants bit me, but all in all, it was good fun. We got to do some racing, sim racing. You know, we did some racing on the roads, perhaps.
Maybe a little.
Nothing you can admit to.
Really loved all of your social media coverage that you did too. It was really cool to see you guys had some sim racing like right there at the track too. That was really cool.
Nothing
You
like
thank Brandon for that.
there's nothing like some 2002 good old PS2 game in the track.
In the track, at the track. I'm glad you guys made it. And also, since it was the first time a lot of you were hanging out together, and we could also know who to blame. The spotter. We saw him on camera. We know what he looks like. So.
Yep, that's good old Casey Tucker.
Yeah. So I'm really looking forward to it. Really glad you guys had a good time. Happy you made it back to us safely, though. We need you here on Countdown to Green. And whoever is responsible for that flyover shot, big props to you.
Oh, you're welcome.
Yeah, phenomenal job. Phenomenal job. Well, guys, we sat down with a few drivers for some rapid fire questions. Here's what they had to say. Don't blink, they're coming in quick. We had a lot of fun with this segment, so enjoy.
Oh, God. I don't think I can get that high.
He has an inflection I can't do.
That was rude. That was mean. And they go into turn one. Oh!
And they're 3 wide. Coming to the checkered flag. It's going to be Ryan Doucette.
Coming out of turn number 4. Here comes Ray Alfala coming to the checkered flag.
900 times out of 10 or something like that. Like it made no sense or something.
And here comes Ray Alfala up the outside of Brian Schoenberg for the lead here at Homestead's Miami. I'm sorry, I can't do it. Oh, they're 3 wide down the back straight. Oh, he turned them.
Side by side.
Here we go, side by side. White flag, sponsored by iRacing.
Here he goes into turn 1, absolutely hauling. He's going to pass the leader, and he's going to be on the lead lap now. Here he goes for the win. He's going to win the race.
Someone who's not in the championship.
Oh, honestly, I don't think I want anybody behind me coming to the championship. I like to just cruise across the line.
Brian Schoenberg, because no one will get around that guy, so just gotta stay in front of him.
Ryan Luza.
Someone that's not in the final 4. I'm gonna go with Keegan because of what he did racing Novak. Didn't take him out, racing clean.
Keegan or Conti? They're not gonna wreck me. I hope not. Oh, Conti might. I'll say Keegan because he already showed that he won't wreck someone. So Keegan.
If they're in the championship 4 with me, I'm gonna have to go with Keegan again because he raced me clean last time, and I don't think that would change.
Zach Novak, just to get even.
Oh my god.
Keegan is a savage, y'all. He is a savage.
He don't forget.
I think my favorite one of those was Jake Matheson's. I can't do an Evan Pasoko impersonation.
He did it pretty good.
But I can do a James Pike one, ladies and gentlemen. Hey,
oh, that was me.
That's lovely. I think Keegan learned his lesson. If he's in the Final 4 this year, he's going to have to put the door or the bumper to somebody. I can't believe he would throw money away like that 2 years. No way.
I love those so much. It's just good to see all the guys having a little bit more fun, a little bit of their personalities coming through too. I didn't see all of those great Evan impersonations coming through, but Jake and Steven Wilson also coming for Evan's job, I think. That's just a small snippet of some of the questions we asked the guys, so we'll share much more next time. Be sure to keep watching Countdown to Green. Much more from the drivers coming at you this season. We've got 5 starts at Kansas Speedway for the eNASCAR Coca-Cola iRacing Series. We're going to turn to Chris Overland for some track analysis.
Yeah, here we are at the Kansas Speedway. It broke ground in 1999, first race in 2001. As Amy mentioned, it's our 5th race, or 5th or 6th, I apologize, at the Kansas Speedway for the eNASCAR Coca-Cola iRacing Series. 1.5 mile track. That progressive banking, we've seen some great racing here, and I think it's only going to get better with these new dynamic track updates iRacing has put out. Lights installed at this place in 2011, and the Kansas repave was done in 2012 from the flat version to the progressively banked version. Now, you can run multiple grooves here. I've seen it in practice races that these drivers have done. You're going to be utilizing the bottom. You're going to be utilizing the top. I'm not sure if we're going to be running the middle. but hopefully these drivers don't meet in the middle and end up in the wall down the back straightaway. This track is going to be putting on a great show tonight, that's for sure.
That's the best observation I've seen you give.
What's that?
About racing.
Oh yeah, racing is awesome, and we love it here at Kansas. Clint Boyer loves it as well. We also have to give a shout out to the Mode Motorsports owner, Kyle Long. He's going to be living in this area.
Absolutely.
Yeah, recently signed to play in Kansas City this year, so.
Rooting against him, but happy for him.
That's a bitter Chargers fan right there.
Yeah, unfortunately.
You'll figure out a way to win one of these days.
All right, well, we've got a lot to look forward to tonight. But before we get to the action on the track, it's time to find out which drivers our panel thinks will get the job done at the virtual Kansas Speedway. Do you think we'll have another new winner in victory lane? I'm not going to call it a comeback quite yet. One bad race could take anybody out, but Brandon.
Hey, I'm not last in points anymore,
no.
and that's the best thing in the world. So this is
I haven't
great.
even had a bad race yet. You're just clawing away, man.
With that being said, I'm going to gain some more points tonight, and Keegan Leahy is going to go get the win tonight. Yeah, he's going to go get the win, and hopefully I can be leading these two idiots instead of being behind them the entire
Hey,
year.
you still got to catch up first.
I can do it.
All right, Chris, who do you have taking the checkers tonight?
Well, as per usual, Cattell is doing the desperate move, picking the low-hanging fruit. Everybody knows Keegan's going to be good. Keegan's always good. I'm going for another first-time winner tonight. I am picking the number 10, Graham Bolin. Graham Bolin's going to get the victory tonight. He's had consistent, solid runs. He has had a little bit of bad luck, but if he puts together a race, that Stewart-Haas machine is going to win tonight. And, you know, Stewart-Haas has 3 wins here at Kansas in real life. They get their first on the eNASCAR side tonight.
It would be exciting for sure. And Michael, last but certainly not least, who do you have taking the checkers?
Well, I have a former winner here at Kansas in the form of Nick Ottinger, the William Byron esports driver, is going to be my pick for tonight's chances here at Kansas. He's put up a lot of good performances, like as I mentioned, 2 wins on the at the circuit here at Kansas Speedway, and he's going to look back to get back on track this season so far to get on track to claim his chances for a second title this year.
Yeah, I mean, there's 6 people already locked into the playoffs. Let's see if we have a 7th or maybe even our first repeat winner. Great picks, guys. Any thoughts on each other's? I mean, you all have picked different manufacturers, so I'm loving that everybody's kind of all over the map. It seems like it could be anybody's race.
Well, I'm a Ford driver at heart. Got to go with the Ford. Graham Bolin and I have definitely had some good battles in the past. He is a guy that will put it all on the line for the win tonight, so I feel good about my pick. These other 2, I don't know. Very competitive drivers, those 2. Maybe you see them getting together tonight.
Anything that will get me points, I am fine with tonight. I just want to be leading.
As long as I walk out with at least a race gap, I'll be all right.
I'm coming for you, Mike. I'm coming for you.
I got to save up for Dega this year. You never know what's going to happen there, so I got to keep that point safe until then.
Yeah, did seeing it all in person change your thoughts on who you think might be able to take it? Do you think anybody in your group that went?
Oh, Ray doesn't stand a chance, that's for sure.
Yeah, he does not have some good luck in. Maybe he picked up some tips right there from the trip this weekend, but who knows?
Very doubtful. Very doubtful.
Thoughts on having another winner tonight, or maybe a repeat winner tonight? What do you think our chances?
Nope, we are breaking the eNASCAR record for most different winners to start the season. I've been right about it so far. I've been right about it since Las Vegas. We're going to have at least 10 different winners going into the playoffs. That continues tonight because Graham Bolin's going to win and not who these 2 on my left and right picked. That's for sure.
I love that you reference left and right accurately on my end as well.
You know,
it's like the Brady Bunch.
The big thing is, as long as Cattell doesn't win, that trend's going to keep up. Because Nick Ottinger still doesn't have a win on the year so far. So, I mean, as long as Cattell doesn't win, that trend still continues.
Very true,
so,
but Cattell needs to win.
Is the curse still on? I don't know. Now it's thrown on Chris, isn't it? No.
I haven't been cursed. It's just the guys that I pick are solidified in 10th to 15th position. And I don't understand it. I don't get it.
Well, I don't get it either. I would also go out on a limb and say this 21 season for the eNASCAR Coca-Cola iRacing Series has been anything but predictable. So what are some of the biggest shockers of the season so far for you?
Biggest shocker for the season so far, man, I got to stop going at Ray. He's 38th in points. It's just such an odd thing. I mean, I looked at them in the practice races, and they seem solid tonight. I think one of the biggest things is some of the teams that don't run necessarily up in the front in real life are getting good runs. The JTG machines are finishing in the top 5. Brian Schoenberg's got in the top 10, which is odd for him recently. So,
let's go back to Amy.
Oh, absolutely. I also wanted to mention that paying a special tribute with his paint scheme this week, driver of the 41, Dylan Duval. Chris, milestone start for the driver. Also a really great way to honor the family. Talk a little bit more about this paint scheme.
Yeah, it's a little bittersweet because obviously we're paying condolences to Dylan's grandmother, Judy, who passed away earlier this past week. But Dylan's also running a paint scheme he designed for his 100th start. It's always a great milestone. Like I said earlier in the event, Stewart Haas Racing has a few wins at Kansas. If it's not Graham Bolin, we'd love to see Dylan win tonight. Obviously, this is a great tribute.
Yeah, really great. Thanks for mentioning also, Chris. For everyone behind the camera, Brandon, Chris, Michael, my name's Amy Long. Coming up next, Evan and Tim on the air. Everyone, enjoy the race tonight.
Center, he can move up and park it, and that may be his best opportunity. Is back in 14th spot. This is where most of that chaos was early on, but Corey Vincent holds 14th for the moment, just ahead of a scrap between Michael Conti and Jimmy Mullis off into turn 3.
And then in front of them, you have the 38 car to the outside of Kerwin. Derek Justice there as well. Where do you watch? There's so many good battles up there. And it looks like Derek Justice kind of maybe tried to squeeze Casey Kerwin up a little bit. We kind of saw that with the battle for the lead with Shearburn and Luza, where Shearburn kind of came up the racetrack, tried to get as much as he could. But Derek Justice in the 37 doing a great job right now. He's had some great qualifying efforts, Evan. He's had a podium finish in his rookie season in this eNASCAR Coca-Cola iRacing series, but I'm sure he wants a little bit more out of that 37.
I think everybody wants just a little bit more, and of course with Vicente Salas getting a win as a rookie last time out at Richmond, Derek Justice says, why not me? It's a fast-looking race car, so if it drives it as good as it looks, 37 car should be one to contend with early, but he's down 4 spots from the start, right? Started at 8th, sits in 12th at the moment. Doesn't want to continue to go backwards, but the aforementioned Dylan Duval closing up on him in that Stewart Haas Racing Fan Club Ford Mustang. Opting to go to the outside, and on the left-hand side of your screen, the battle for the race lead continues. Tim still side by side. Luza up top and Shearburn on the bottom.
Chris has been trying to get that run down into corner number 1 and not give Ryan any room to the inside, and I think it may end up working as they continue to run side by side. On the other side, you got Logan Clampett in the 97, and how about Logan Clampett this season? Has that win. His team is up front when it comes to the team standings for William Byron Esports. Been a pretty good season to be Logan Clampett, and right now he's trying to break into the top 10, and we have a lead change, maybe. Chris Shearburn in the 36. That was close.
Led it at the line by 1/1000th of a second. So he will officially get a lap let on the board, and we're not going to have 2 perfect nights in a row as far as drivers dominating all the way. He almost cleared him that time off of 2, but again, Luza able to pull that 1 to 2 car lengths of advantage on the straightaway. But Shearburn keeps chipping away, and I'd almost put the odds in favor of the 36, Tim. And you would think if they're side by side for this long that it would allow 3rd and 4th to catch up, right? Not the case. Last lap, your leaders, while fighting for the lead, were 0.2 of a second faster than anybody else on track, and their lead has grown to 1.3 seconds over the rest of the field.
And there's a little look with 1st and 2nd, and focus, dead focus between those two, and they are putting on one heck of a show. But that battle for 3rd on back is, they're kind of getting to scrapping a little bit, Evan. It's not the calm that we've seen in earlier races and early in this run. So these two are scrapping for the lead, and 3rd and 4th, and the rest of them are starting to, get a little bit anxious.
A lot of those small but sudden wheel inputs from the drive of the 36 machine. Ryan Luza almost looking a little bit out of the side of his eyes, maybe looking into a side monitor or something to give him some extra perspective, Justin.
Yes, indeed. And the one thing with Luza, too, he is saying over the radio, he is drifting. He is that loose off the corner, hitting the transition before the seam. And when it comes to his actual physical wheel, it is getting more and more louder physically as he's trying to correct the car. So keep an eye on that as he continues to battle that race car.
Always a fight in the fight for the race lead. At this point, Tim seems never-ending on board. Looking out of the right-hand side of that 36 Chevrolet on the bottom. That's the number 4 Ford up on the outside. And their lead has balanced out. Don't kind of count out those cars third on back, but quietly through all of this, the 44 of Isaac Gann has snuck into third. He's still well off of this side-by-side battle, but a good drive early for the 44. Started 7th and up to 3rd, and that's taking a look at him now, just ahead of Mitchell DeYoung, who's been able to stop an early race slide, and 4th just behind that 44 car.
Another driver that has had speed all season long. Some of the finishes not indicative of where he has run, but Isaac is flirting with that top 10 when it comes to trying to point your way in with this Kligerman Sport number 44, and then Mitchell DeYoung in behind. Talked to Mitchell yesterday a little bit, and he said the clean air was going to be key, but he also said it's something that he and his teammate Keegan have kind of echoed this season, Evan. We don't know what we're going to have on the short run when we go green, and right now it's looking pretty good. No, by the way, do I see his teammate back there?
Lurking, not that far behind. We talk about the advantage of some of the teammates having run so well, and how as well strong, I think it's important to note some of the team duos have been, right? Notably, William Byron Esports and 2311 Racing have been the best 2 teams this year. Here's a cool look. So you're looking up top with Isaac in. Bottom of the screen is just next door. Everybody tuning in live and watching the race. They tune in every single week. Support Isaac as he wheels it up on the big screen, and Tim will hang with this one for a second and see if they see themselves on the screen. But I think this is one of the coolest things just on the other side of the dorm room from Isaac Gann Racing, is all of the boys supporting him, and love to see them cheering on their buddy behind the wheel of the number 44 machine. And they might have a lot to cheer for tonight with Isaac sitting up in 3rd position early in this race. So that might be a camera we want to check back at it. I think they just saw themselves on the screen there, so they're proud to rep the 44 car, Tim, and they might have a lot more to cheer about if he keeps moving forward.
I think they need to change the flag, though. Aren't Tuesdays for the boys now?
Yeah, we need Tuesdays are for eNASCAR or something, right? We got to get the marketing folks on that one. But awesome to see the support that Isaac's got as the end of the school year is coming up, right? So good to see those guys supporting him on a Tuesday night basis. And meanwhile, up front, still side by side. But finally, Ryan Lusa gets the better of Chris Shearburn and clears him down the back straightaway. Of course, I mentioned at the top of the show, Ryan Lusa, previously an intermediate racetrack winner this year at the virtual Las Vegas Motor Speedway, was best in practice, topped qualifying, and so far is looking pretty good, Tim. But for Chris as well, I think this is going to be a great showing for the 36, who's had one of his best starts to a season since I can remember, doing a great job up front. Back here in the 20s, where we're still side by side, and a pair of McLaren Chevrolets leading this group. Alan Bose in the 67, Blake Reynolds in the 66. They are clear of the actual fight, which is with the one of Ashton Crowder down on the inside of Garrett Lowe right now.
And then you got the 33 of Taylor Hurst back here, and we talked about paint schemes earlier. Is that a bear on the 33?
I think the whole car is a grizzly bear. I think it's like the Corey LaJoie car, Tim, where it was Corey's face on the hood and the beard or the hair flowing down the side. There isn't a grizzly bear on the car. The car is, I think, a grizzly bear.
So that should scare his competition, right?
You would think so, and there's a good look at it with Grizzly Coolers on board, that 33 Chevrolet, Tim. We always love all the different sponsors and partners getting involved, sponsoring drivers in this series. You see Axe on the car up top to the 80 to Brad Davies, but I will tip my cap to the Grizzly Coolers marketing team for having some fun with that. That is a cool paint scheme.
And doing fairly well. Taylor Hurst coming off a great run where he had a lot of speed at Richmond, and trying to do it here, but that inside line, we saw it a little bit earlier up top at the front of the field, takes a little bit to get in there. There's a McLaren Shadow teammates, Reynolds and Bose going at it, and
shadowing each other, Tim. You weren't going to say it.
I was going to let you do that, and there's
it
the 97.
was right there.
Yeah, it was right there. There's a 97 on pit road, 31 laps in.
That's questionable. The only driver we've seen come to pit road was Femi Olat, who, by the way, has gone to the garage. So he is the early retiree in this race. But Looks like Clampett's going to be the first driver in on a short stop strategy. 134-lap race. If you're pitting this early, I would think you are on a 3-stop strategy. So he's not the only one in. There's Blake Reynolds diving to pit road. Obviously, Clampett ahead of the game here and knew the strategy. The 6 car down as well, just a little bit behind. That's Nathan Lyon. So some early pit service here after a clean start to this Kansas 200.
And this is a home track race for Nathan Lyon, so he is looking to do well with that Roush Fenway number 6, and he and his teammate have done really well this season when it's come to these 1.5 mile racetracks. So looking to back that up as well, as you see Derek Justice on your screen. There's the 46 car of Mullis working to the inside, trying to get what they can here on lap number 33.
I wonder how many more drivers are going to buy into this. The 52 car is down pit road. So you saw Jake Matheson lock up the brakes a little bit, the Williams Esports thing, and I think he overdrove the box a little bit there. Might have had to put it in reverse, and that's going to cost him some time. Assuming anybody pitting on green flag conditions, the decision is going to be 4 tires and fuel. How about this duel for 9th position on back? Zach Novak, kind of in the middle of it all, actually, for 8th, Stephen Wilson. Novak and Bolin all bumper to bumper. I know Graham Bolin was a friendly pick in the Countdown to Green show. He's doing a good job running top 10 as the other McLaren entry, the 67 car, down pit road. That's Alan Bose.
Now, we did see Jake Matheson down on pit road. You mentioned the Countdown to Green, Evan. I think Jake Matheson is one of those front runners for your job coming up, at least the impersonation that he put up. So, I don't know. Have you driven one of these Cup cars recently? Can we do like a little ride swap or something there?
Well, I also saw that my setup ended up on the share your rig thing as we see Brad Davies locking up the tires, Tim, and I know that they were beating up on me for not having a wheel on my desk. I have driven the Cup car on the sim. There is a reason I do not currently have the wheel on the desk. It is very hazardous for the other drivers, and I'd probably be lucky to get within about 2 seconds of what these guys are pulling, even on their hot laps. As that 3 wide almost gets a little bit out of control. Novak squeezed to the outside with the 17, just about took all of them out, but the Donnie car got out of the throttle, and that was quite the near escape.
And near escape for Ryan Doucette coming onto pit road. He had that thing dead sideways coming onto pit road. And there's Bolin on your screen in the 10. And got to take a look at some of their pre-race content. And Graham was saying that this pit entry is going to be very key here this evening. I think we just saw that out of the 79. Is Graham one of those drivers that could very well end up winning the race? Stephen Wilson in the 17 has had some very good runs here as of late for the rookie driver. As you see the pace right here, we got some new tires cutting through the field.
This is the difference. Logan Clampett is blitzing his way through traffic. His last lap was a 30.264. The last lap for the race leader, Ryan Luza, was a 31.8, Tim. So that's why you would think 30-lap run is very short. They had 2 seconds of fall off. Seems very high, but we talked about those hot track temp, right? 80 degrees atmosphere temp, not that crazy. Air temp, as you see Clampett now go to the inside 3 wide, making a move on the 9 Guest and the 41er Duval, but it was that 115-degree track temp that caught my eye, and clearly it's been eaten away as, look out, the 16 car steps at a line. That's John Gorlinski trying to pass Kane Cook for position. And I don't know if he didn't see the Donnie 7 or what, but that was a quick reaction from Logan Clampett as that car came down.
There's Mitchell DeYoung coming onto pit road in the 23. And the one thing about Logan Clampett, he's got a veteran spotter in Jason Loping. Jason's been involved with this series since 2010. So if anybody's going to talk his way or talk a driver through this pack, it's going to be Jason Loping. As you see him to the inside of the 46 of Jimmy Mullis, the 90. The Richmond Raceway Esports teammates now going at it. But we never really saw a blink out of Logan Clampett. There's 2, there's 3 wide, and, you know, he's kind of calm, cool, and collected right now.
Yeah, it didn't seem to panic, right? And I think that was the key there is in that Richard Raceway duo, I think Novak caught the fence in 1 and 2 just before we picked him up there because he looked a little bit slow off of the corner, and that's what reels the 46 back into this. But clearly not everybody thinks that coming down to pit road just some 30-some-odd laps or so into the race is the call, but the car from second does. Chris Shearburn will go for the undercut on Ryan Luza, and he is down pit road at lap 40. Keegan Leahy also down pit road. Looks like Ottinger in as well, and everybody, Tim, smoking the tires as they drive aggressively onto pit road, trying to get it down to pit road speed of 45 miles an hour.
I think you hit the nail on the head now. The question is, when does that 4-car blink? When does Ryan Luza come down onto pit road? He's going to come through the 3 and 4 this time, and I think he's going to stay at least on the racetrack. So now, with those drivers that are within the top 5 starting to come down, I think it might force some hands a little bit here.
Bobby Zelensky also down pit road. He's going to be a fan of the aforementioned road course races coming up that your pollster Ryan Luza mentioned in that poll interview before the green flag. You got Casey Kerwin, Ashton Crowder, Jake Nichols also down pit road. As Chris Shearburn, who pitted from second, is now blended back up and tracked him. After tonight, the next 6 points races, 3 of them road courses. Coda, Road America, Watkins Glen. So Bobby Z could be a big fan of that. He hasn't lost a road course race in this series in about a millennia as we see more drivers down pit road.
Michael Conti among them, Jimmy Mullis. There's the 9 of Michael Guest. And Michael Guest has the most points amassed this season, Evan, that does not have a victory. So kudos to the Jim Beaver Esports Big Green Egg team for doing a good job this year. And right now, running about middle of the pack. They're going to try to get a good pit stop here and bring it up. Is the 4 coming down here?
He is. So 3 laps after his counterpart came down pit road, Ryan Luza is in, Tim. And at 43 laps, it's an interesting number because it could be either a late pit stop on a 3-stopper or an early pit stop on a 2-stopper. So maybe the 4 wants to leave the window open, and with all of the drivers coming down to the pit lane, that number 97 is likely to be the car to cycle through to the top of the board. Remember, Clampett pitted before anybody else did some 13 laps ago. Right now, only sitting at about 12th spot or so. JP, what's the strategy like?
Well, in regards to the strategy for Logan Clampett, take a listen as they're very lighthearted on the radio after this call.
They think I'm doing some funky then I know what I'm doing, but I don't know what I'm doing, so.
I mean, we have a win. We're just, yeah. So if we can go like 60 laps on fuel.
Yep, something like that.
I wonder if we pit like right when you can make it.
Yeah, I don't know. We'll see how this strategy works out here.
Yeah, I can't believe how many people have pitted.
A lot of surprise for some of the drivers with the early pit call from the Logan Clampett camp. And as they mentioned, they can take that risk with that victory, keep in mind. So they decided, you know what? Why not?
4 cars down pit road as Novak, Vincent, Schoenberg, and Salas are in, Tim. But you know, I mentioned that a previous winner at an intermediate track was Ryan Luza this year. Well, Clampett also a winner on a 1.5 mile at Atlanta Motor Speedway back in March. So his William Byron Esports entry locked into the postseason as the 16 of John Gorlinski comes down pit road from the race lead, and that will hand things off to Bob Bryant in control in the number 77 car, the Valvoline entry for Clearman Sport.
Yeah, you want to talk about somebody that's done some strategy and got to victory lane and closed the deal. Bob Bryant, definitely one of them as he kind of pulls down to the middle lane there in the Valvoline number 77. I'm surprised some other drivers near the back of the field didn't stay out longer. Guys like Brian Schoenberg, who's used to this strategy. Is Bob Bryant going to bring that thing down onto pit road? But a couple of drivers near the back as he locks it up down onto pit road, trying to get that strategy and trying to make some track position here. There's the 75. He has scored a Jew leader now. That's Matt Busa.
$20 to anybody who didn't slide the tires and flat spot them coming down to pit road. I mean, that goes to show you on a green flag cycle how critical every 10th of a second is, and how much these drivers are willing to risk. Of course, the speeding penalty hurts a lot more than that small penalty would be for maybe taking it a little bit easier. Boos is in the lead, but he is pitting this time. He'll make the transition down to the apron, waits till it's a little bit smoother. Wasn't that bad. Small lockup on the left front, but after starting 32nd in this race, he comes down pit road, and now we look from the back to the front. Blade Witt started this race in 40th position, and his number 14 iRacing Ford is leading at lap number 49. He is the only driver, Tim, yet to come down pit road. Once he comes down and in, Mitchell DeYoung may actually cycle out to be the lead car on the pit cycle.
Let's take a look at the 14 here, coming up at a corner number 4. And I thought he was going to come down. And Evan, the one thing that I did see with Matt Busa, that looks a lot smoother inside the race car than outside the race car, kind of sliding that thing.
And he's got the Formula Rim on board for the oval. I know we were hearing some of the drivers talk about that in Countdown to Green, and you'll definitely see a lot of the field, if they're on a stock car or a circular wheel, probably switch over to an open wheel like that when we go to the road courses. But even here on the oval, Blade Witt going to go with the Formula Rim. You can't do the hand over hand, so he's not planning on spinning out or anything, but I'm curious what steering ratio is running in relation to that wheel. And those are just all the little things that these drivers can do to kind of tailor-made their setups towards themselves. We did hear on that audio clip, by the way, with Logan Clampett discussing with his team, Tim, that they think they can go about 60 laps. Well, it's very clear Blade Witt is not fast right now. Those fresh tires are eating him alive as everybody is blowing past the 14, but at lap 51, that would tell me if he really wants to do it, he's got maybe less than 10 laps, but I'm not sure he's willing to go all the way, but continues to stay out. His clear objective is trying to catch a yellow and get some track position.
Well, that's just it. If he gets a yellow flag, it's going to work for him because probably everybody else is going to come down into pit road behind him. So we'll see how this all shakes out for the 14 of Blade Witt, but I don't mind the strategy considering he started 40th tonight.
And he's enjoying the view at the front of the field. Blade Witt continues to lead, but he dives down pit road. The field will be led by Chris Shearburn. Clean and green so far from Kansas. You're watching round 7 of the eNASCAR Coca-Cola iRacing Series.
This Coca-Cola Zero Sugar tastes mighty delicious.
Come on, buddy.
But
if you keep lying like this, you'll be a puppet forever.
It's the honest truth.
You're right. It's delicious.
I never lie.
I am in awe of your bravery, your selflessness, your strength. For the millions of ways you keep us safe, I am only here because of your sacrifice. And I am not going to stop until each and every one of you is recognized for what you do for this country. And for that, I am forever grateful. I am NASCAR.
Coverage of tonight's race is brought to you by Cookout and Coca-Cola. Race to a Cookout drive-thru for a Cookout tray and an ice cold Coca-Cola. And by DoorDash, proud sponsor of 2311 Racing. Well, clean and green so far for the virtual Kansas Speedway working lap number 56. Let's ride with our DoorDash onboard camera with the 23 of Mitchell DeYoung right now sitting third. And Ryan Luza getting around a Mitchell DeYoung there. Tim, the difference between the 23 and the 4, about 5-lap fresher tires in favor of Ryan Luza, who pitted after DeYoung did. So DeYoung got the track position, but the 4 car has been able to get around by him since. And you see at the top of your screen, still Blade Witt, lap number 59, getting awfully close to that number. But Chris Shearburn, I think, a big winner in all of this, having cycled through to the race leads, the guy that I'm going to want to watch as this one continues to shake out. But 14 enjoying all of that TV time up at the front of the field. Good stuff out of Blade Witt and the Clint Boyer Racing entry.
And you know what? Mitchell DeYoung looked in the zone there. He was, the pit stop strategy the way it is. Shearburn's got by, Luza got by. Mitchell was really the first one when it cycled through, but he's lost a couple of positions right now. He looked pretty in the zone in the purple room right now, and I don't think we've heard the last of Mitchell DeYoung this evening, but Blade Witt doing a great job up here, leading some laps, so the fresh tires are coming for the 14.
Yeah, DeYoung and Leahy, that duo, I don't think it's enough credit for how much speed those cars have, right? The 6 races before this, 4 of them was those 2311 cars on pole position, Justin.
And for Blade Witt right now, they say they're right on the money to split this race in half at the moment. He said his car feels a bit worn out with the tires and a bit tight, but there's a lot of confidence from their camp right now with the strategy, even with the time delta closing in.
Well, that's interesting because we had assumed, Tim, based on the chatter from Clampett, that about 61's the number, but that time by 61 laps down, 73 laps to go. So they would need to get to, I think, lap 67, if my math doesn't fail me here. 67 would be the halfway point, and if they can do that, wouldn't it be crazy to have some of the drivers on a 3-stopper, but one driver on a 1? I mean, normally we have a variance, right? Some 2, some 3, but what if Blade Witt could try to pull this off?
And for where he qualified, he didn't get the best track position. Yeah, everybody off the start on social media was saying, we need clean air, we need good track position. Blade Witt qualified dead last here tonight, and he's leading this race. So I don't know if the strategy doesn't work out per se. I think Blade Witt, even if he gains a few spots from running where he was around the 30th something position before this cycle started, I think it's a win for Blade Witt, and he's getting some TV time and leading some laps. So great to see. We'll see what happens here. And look at this mess. Derek Justice, Dylan Duval, they're in it.
They are in the thick of things. It's a battle for 15th position right now, some 12 seconds off of the race lead. Bose, Duval, Justice, and Cook in a 4-way group. And let's take a second look at what they were up to just a few laps ago. That's number 10 at Graham Bolin in the middle of this pack. And as they go off into 1, there's a checkup with Wilson up the road. Look out, Kane Cook, a touch. And what a save by the driver of that Smithfield Ford. Graham Bolin putting on a show, keeping that 10 car in this race.
That's making the bacon just a little bit crispy, but not stepping over the edge. Graham Bolin did a really good job in that Smithfield car, but back up here, you see the 14 of Blade Witt trying to hold on. Mitchell DeYoung has made his way past. Should be a couple of more laps, Evan. I think your math is right, 2 or 3 more laps to get this thing down onto pit road and try to get that strategy playing out for him. And if this thing stays green, I'm interested to see where it lands.
It'll be interesting to see, and there's 2 questions. The first question is, can he make it on field, right? That's its own separate issue. If he can, then the second question is, well, does it even work, right? He could make it to the end of the race, but not get the win. It's not like all or nothing. So they're focused on trying to make the fuel number, and then once they do, then we'll be able to start to analyze those intervals as this race gets a little bit deeper on and start to think, all right, if he can do it, can he actually go all the way for the race win? As this is where that near incident came from. The number 41 car in the mix in this crew. That's Dylan Duval off to the outside in 17th position. Ahead of him, I mentioned Kane Cook. That's the bright red and yellow fistful of bourbon Ford for Jim Beaver Esports. On the bottom of the Williams Esports, or I guess I should say the McLaren Shadow entry, rather, of Alan Bose in the 67, Justin.
Yes, indeed. And when it comes to Dylan Duval, let's take a listen in to some of the audio over the radio from the Halifax-based driver.
Man, I don't know what he's doing out here.
He went up on Blake and then came down on you. Like he was like, oh crap, I'm gonna hit him. So then he hit you instead.
I don't know, man. He needs to get his head screwed on straight. It's pretty dumb. Feels like it's the same thing every week. like we got lucky to not get damaged, though. At least it doesn't seem like it's damaged.
No, it doesn't look like it at all on my screen.
Yeah. I mean, that's what I get for being nice and just going to the bottom and letting PC through. People get mad when you don't let them by, but, like, put yourself in spots like that, trying to cut people brakes.
Not happy in that camp, to say the very least. Currently, Duval running in 16th position in his 100th race. No, by the way, Witt's come down for his scheduled pit stop a bit further than they estimated originally, but they can take a little bit less gas now for this second stop.
I believe he came down ending lap 68, crossing over to 69. So one lap in the bank, per se, past the halfway point. So now we know the Tim, he can make it on fuel, assuming he can get that same mileage in the second half. Now we'll have to see if it is a race-winning strategy, or at least a competitive strategy to get him up and into a good spot. I guess even if he finishes 40th, Tim, it's a zero-sum game because that's where he started. So why not roll the dice?
Absolutely, and we're watching the 41 of Dylan Duval still, and the one thing that I took from that clip that JP had there is that they're trying to micromanage the race and trying to see everything from a broader standpoint and a broader picture. You heard the voice of Ed Birch there, and Evan, he has been around sim racing for a while. The man they call Birch Babies, trying to keep Dylan Duval calm a little bit, trying to talk him through it. And he's doing a great job. They've been a duo for a few years now. They know each other in and out. So it's great to hear that dynamic working through the pack and working through the race.
Longtime vet of the series, and for Dylan as well, Tim, hard to forget that race win from him back in 2016 at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, his one and only eNASCAR Coca-Cola iRacing Series win to date. And checking back in with the 44 of Isaac Gann, riding P5 at the moment. So circled back a little bit through the pit cycle, was in third before they came down, but Mitchell DeYoung made Bobby Zelensky now up ahead of him. You can see Zelensky not that far away, though, and Isaac was a little bit slower last time, so we'll see if the 83 is going to be pulling away from him or if the 44 is going to reel him back into him. One big question with this strategy, right, is, of course, if this race can stay green. I mentioned we raced here all three of the last 3 years. In 2020 and 19, it had 3 yellow flags. In 2018, we had 2. So this is a race where we're used to having some, but when they get spread out like this, nothing's impossible. As Zach Novak driving with one hand, making some adjustments on the front stretch there.
And took a little reach down, and you look back in behind, currently in 11th, and there's some battles throughout, but I think for the most part, you look back behind there, and I think everybody's kind of taking that deep breath. They're in the middle or maybe the end towards their run, unless you're Blade Witt and you're just starting out. So I think they've kind of taken the collective deep breath, and you kind of see it there with Zach. He's kind of clenching the lip a little bit, and he's riding along right now, doing a great job in 11th.
And I love the flex, by the way, of the check in the trophies on the mantle as well. You saw 2 of them there. One of them, of course, his championship trophy from this series back in 2019. The other one, an eNASCAR Ignite Series championship trophy, which was one of the funnest series I can remember calling. And Tim, it was for younger aged drivers and the Legends cars at short tracks on the service, and got a real good look. A lot of drivers who raced in that series now either at this level or coming through the eNASCAR Road to Pro ladder to try to get to this level. So cool to see that progression as those drivers get older and they progress in their sim racing careers. Looking at a duo between Zach Nichols and Kane Cook, 2 very different stories. They fight for 13th and 14th, Tim, but Zach started this race in 5th. He's fallen back, whereas Kane Cook started back in 23rd, and he is driven up to 14th. So it is quite a drive for Kane Cook thus far.
And for Nichols, you want to talk about starting positions and qualifying and the way everything shook out. When you look at the top 6, all of those drivers started in the top 7, except for the one driver that's missing, and it's this one right here in the 29 of Nichols. He's fallen back a little bit. And you mentioned the aesthetically pleasing number 15 at Kane Cook as we ride on board with the Fistful of Bourbon Jim Beaver esports car. I really like the look of this race car. Jim Beaver and his team have done a fantastic job putting together some really beautiful looking race cars this season.
And the sponsors on both of those Jim Beaver cars with Fistful of Bourbon and Big Green Egg are such huge supporters of the sim racing community. And You're absolutely right. I think easily some of the best looking cars in the field with that matte look is a bit of a slide job for Kane Cook. Pulls up in front of Zach Nichols, takes the spot, and 29 machine, just a little bit of a bump down the back straightaway, but a caution and a spinner. It's the 77 car of Bob Bryant. And we have our first yellow of the afternoon. John Gorlinski also involved.
Those guys are friends. I don't know how that's going to work out after this one's all said and done, but I know those guys work closely together. Usually hang out in the same voice channel, or at least they can communicate with each other. So, Evan, I'm intrigued to look at the replay here because there might be some bad feelings here depending how this goes.
Well, we saw a near crash with the 3-wide incident earlier with Zach Novak at 4. This one, not near. It happened. Let's watch. That's John Gorlinski trying to go up the middle. To the inside is Boland. To the outside is Duval. And he tried to split the difference, and it just did not work. And oh, what a tough break for the 77 of Bob Bryant. They had actually gotten away with it as the 16 tried to split the difference. It was a bit of a hit into the wall for that 16 to Bishita Gorlinski, Tim, but it was just trying to recover that car. Then he went down to the inside and tagged Bob Bryant, who had nothing to do with it, and I'm sure probably thought he had escaped that one.
Okay, so let's put us in Bob Bryant's shoes. You've raced with John for a while. You guys are best friends. If you're Bob Bryant, what's going through your mind right now, knowing that John almost had that thing saved?
Probably mad he didn't just lock it down, but, I mean, you know, there's nothing really John Gorlinski can do there, Tim. It's either he turns up the hill, puts it into the wall, locks it down, is in the middle of the track and gets hit, or tries to save it, and just unfortunate timing for Bob Bryant, who could have gone even lower, but again, I mean, he checked it up there. He thought he was good. So under the yellow, this will wipe away most of that pit strategy that we were discussing. Everybody in, and a spinner on pit road for Derek Justice, who gets turned around. Another spinner now. As the second car's gone around, hard to see in the smoke with all the drivers as that mains there turned sideways, but everybody's down pit road, Tim. Everybody can go these 55 laps to the end, so gas them up and get tires.
Everybody's down except for a couple. Footnote on this one, Blade Witt was trapped a lap down on that. That was the driver that went towards halfway and a little bit better, and that strategy's not going to work out for him, Evan. If he gets the free pass, he's still going to be around 36th or something like that after this is all said and done.
Shearburn maintains, but they were 4 wide off of pit road for second best, and I think they're going to give it to Bobby Zelensky. It'll be Shearburn first, Zelensky second, DeYoung third, Luza 4, Isaac Gann 5. The drivers in order out of pit road, everybody agreeing on the strategy, but I think in all of that, Ryan Luza drops 2 positions, Tim. I thought he came down to pit road second or so. His stop, 15.2 seconds in the box. That was very different than a blistering 14.4 for Bobby Zelensky, who ends up being the big winner in all of that, gaining some track position and putting himself on the front row probably for a restart that could mark the last run to the end of the race. There is the age-old adage that cautions breed cautions, and now that we've checked him up in the second half, who knows what it's going to bring, Tim. But involved in that incident was John Gorlinski. You're dialed up on the radio with the driver of the 16.
Yeah, John, we don't like talking this way, but what happened?
It was all working out in our favor. I saw clean middle line there, and I got a bunch of air in my nose. So I took the shot, and I got in a Stuart Haas sandwich.
Yeah, she looks a little crumpled up. How bad was it on pit road?
About a minute and 20 of damage, and I just blew pit entry dead. So we're compounding errors at this point.
Well, go get what you can.
All right.
That's John Gorlinski, and I think we're going to try to dial up Bob Bryant as well. Bob, how heartbreaking is that seeing John come down the racetrack and feeling a little bit helpless there?
Yeah, I didn't see anything. I saw him kind of get a little out of shape. They were quite a bit faster than the cars immediately in front of us, and he went to kind of shoot the gap between them to clear him real quick, so it's so tough to pass, and he got out of shape and thought we had it missed, and I think we were down on the apron, and he came down and clipped us, so kind of been the story of our year. It's been feast or famine. It is what it is. Car isn't killed. It's hopefully not too bad. We'll see what we got.
What was the radio chatter like between you and John?
I mean, look, it is what it is. He didn't mean to do it. Annoying. I think we could have both, if we look back, could probably use a little bit more patience in that scenario. But it is what it is, and we'll see what we can do.
That's Bob Bryant. You want to talk about some strategy and some maybe strategy gone wrong, Evan? Pit Road was a busy place and maybe too busy for some of these drivers.
Yeah, it was messy. They were locking them up under green, but watch them stack them up under the caution flag. A little bit of a bobble for Zelensky. Everybody else, and right there, starts with that 67. Justice a little bit too hot in. He spins it, but he was not the only one. Look at this. More cars locking it up, and right there, the 2 car gets turned. That was Garrett Maines getting turned by the 75 of Busa, who I think saw all the cars locking it up, went to the left to try to not run into the back of them, Tim, but it ended up Maines needed to get into his box, and probably shouldn't have been down that low was Busa. You got to give room for the cars to come in, and just a bit of calamity on pit road. Going to send a handful of drivers to the rear. 82 laps down, 52 laps to go. Chris Shearburn for the first restart of the night. And contact and spinner. Mitchell DeYoung in front of the field, and it is an absolute melee in turns 3 and 4. Second caution of the night.
Everybody in the pool in turn 3 and 4. That was big. Was that Malik Ray at the top of the screen that got stopped in time? That might have been the only one outside of these 3, 4, maybe 5 cars in front of it.
Just a mess, and there is a lot of frustrated drivers. And well, I said it, Tim, the yellow erased the strategy right. There was no more 1 stoppers, 2 stoppers, 3. We were all in the same boat, and there's always that chance when you get everybody stacked up that you're not going to get away with it. Got away with a few early with some of those 3-4 wide looks. We did not get away with this one. And typically, when the car that gets turned is running in second position, it is awfully difficult for the rest of the field to avoid it. And maybe a preview of what we'll see later on at the end of the round of 8, round of 10 of the playoffs, I should say, at Talladega, because that was the big one. DeYoung, obviously, the one we saw got turned, Tim, and we'll wait on a replay to talk much more about that one, but it looked like some sort of a 3-wide situation between he and Logan Clampett on the bottom. Let's watch this one all the way back from the restart and see how it developed.
And keep in mind, Evan, this is the first restart that they've had all night long. We had the first start. There's no sense of urgency there. There's no, real need to pick up positions. We're in the second half of this race now. You really got to position yourself here, and I think this is what they were at least trying to do here at a 2.
Yeah, Clampett's got a run right there. He touches DeYoung, loosens the 23 up, but a bit of a block. I mean, DeYoung pinches Clampett down there, and neither of those drivers was willing to give. Logan had the nose. He felt like he was entitled to that space. Mitchell DeYoung didn't want to let him go down there, and I think the 23 just squeezed out the 97. He went up, just got Bobby Zelensky, and at that point, the track was blocked. I mean, huge damage on maybe the favorite of Ryan Luza, who had been the best car for much of this evening. The 46 cars destroyed, and Jimmy Mullis. And Tim, I might save myself some time if I tell you who wasn't involved versus who was, because that was a lot of torn up sheet metal. Let's ride on board with Graham Bolin as he sees this unfold.
Yeah, take a look at this one. I don't think he's going to have anywhere to go here.
How about that? Tried his best to hold it low, and the seas parted. Graham Bolin going to survive that, wrecked him on the restart. Graham Bolin was scored back, and I believe about 18th position. Right now, he's sitting P7. The driver who was at the forefront of that contact was Mitchell DeYoung, and you dialed him up.
Well, we're going to go to the purple room. Mitchell, what happened?
Hey, Tim. Yeah. Very unfortunate. I don't know, just having a look at it again, I think a lot of little things that could have gone differently, but I felt like I wasn't completely in the wrong there with out of my my lawn and everything. I felt like there was enough space, and really was not expecting that. I thought we'd have a little more patience, but yeah, no, just very unfortunate. I mean, we were having a really good run, and it's very disappointing to have it cut short that way. So, you know, it's going to be a hard one to swallow, and we just take the positives and move on. So,
is this a product of the clean air being so important on these restarts?
Certainly, definitely important. I mean, Chris had a good getaway there, so he looked like he was going to be pretty safe. But yeah, it's all about getting that track position. Obviously, I'm sure you guys saw with the short pit stops from everyone. So, you know, trying to get to the front, that's the key, and then managing from there. But just the way it goes, it's tough on the restarts here. The cars are pretty all over the place, so pretty hard to hold on.
Tough luck. We'll see you in a couple of weeks.
Thanks, Tim.
And there's the driver wall, and the boys are in there as well, Evan, and there's some disappointed drivers, I think, right about now.
I think that's our list of cars involved, right? Just yes, all the drivers in a mess in this one, and using this opportunity to kind of decompress under the caution flag. I'm sure a lot of them are a little bit frustrated with that, but we've had some drivers get their radio access turned off, muted by race control. There's some tempers after a pretty calm opening half to this Kansas 200. No takers from the front of the field on pit stops. Everybody 21st on the back came in, many of them for damage repairs, and we'll try this one again with 47 laps to go. Shearburn and Clampett side by side on the front row. The 36 car restarts us.
Evan, as they go down into corner number one, I'm interested to see if we see that sense of urgency again. Maybe that restart might have taught them a thing or two, and maybe we'll see some more give rather than a little bit of take.
Well, I only see 2 wide, no 3. Oh, no, there it is towards the back. So they're still going 3 wide in the rear. Yeah, there's Conti up ripping on the fence. We haven't talked much about the 8 car tonight, but his WR on Chevy for Jeter Motorsports in a pretty good spot, boxed in by Duval, and 3 wide for the race lead. Here comes Isaac Gann. He'll go underneath Chris Shearburn. They're both going to clear Clampett. No, let's stay 3 wide for the lead down the back straightaway.
Isaac's fighting on that inside, and Keegan's trying to make it 4. Michael Guest is up here for the first time this evening. How about Jim Beaver Esports? Both of those drivers in the top 10. Little pushing, little shoving up in front, and it's going to be it. Oh, it might have been Shearburn. It might have been Gann.
Nose to nose, my time in scoring says a tie at start-finish line, but you're right, those Jim Beaver cars have been so good. Michael Guest, and of course his teammate Kane Cook representing tonight as well. Gann still trying to make the bottom work. Clampett has dropped the back 2 wide as you ride on the board with the 97 now. Can that 44 make it stick? Side by side for the race lead. Lap number 90. Gann going to go down to the apron. The 36 is holding strong, and there is a hungry Hornet's Nest behind that wants to get in on the action.
Yeah, those boys are on pins and needles right now watching that 44 try to get that lead back away from Shearburn. Shearburn's fighting on the outside, and he's fought all race long, whether it's been to the inside of Ryan Loser or now to the outside of Isaac Gann. Chris Shearburn has been the one constant up in front as they cheer on the 44 of the 4.
Ashton Crowder threatening payback on somebody, so clearly back in traffic things are not that pretty, but up front still on each other's door, and they are not giving a ton of space. That 44 still struggling with the speed off. I mean, that's the downside of the inside line, right? Is you can't carry the speed off the corner. There they are making some more noise as well, and that 36 of Shearburn is so smooth right now. Can the 44 get it? Gann sees daylight. Slide job at a 4. Shuts the door. What a move. New race leader is Isaac Gann.
And look at that fist pump from the 44. Isaac knows it. He's excited, and we've got clean air out in front if you're the 44. If you're back there for second on back, Shearburn, familiar place, inside line.
Calculated risk by Isaac Gann there, Tim. Just about fenced it. There wasn't a lot of daylight, but he put it up in front of the 36. Shearburn went to cross him over, shut that door too, and he wanted that clean air desperately. So the aggressive driving puts the 44 on the top spot, and now the fight for second on to back behind as Chris Shearburn trying to stay in front of Clampett and Leahy, who have both moved up to the outside line, sitting in third and fourth. Here's a big run for Clampett. He wants to hold, though, prefers to stay up top and going to try to get around the long way.
And still plenty of laps left to get it done, but plenty of laps to get yourself in trouble as well, Evan, as you see that battle for position number 3 side by side, and Shearburn now trying to chase down Isaac Gann for the lead. And there's a couple of drivers looking to add their name to the list of winners in 2021, and Shearburn gonna put the boots on and go back to work to the inside.
And now it's a role reversal, right? The 36 on the bottom, the 44 up top, and Chris Shearburn's aware that Isaac Gann is not afraid to be aggressive, so I wonder how the 36 races him back. He'll slide up, shut the door, blocks him all the way to the grass, and Isaac Gann responds by pushing the 36 car all the way down to turn number 1, Tim. If I recall, we've seen a couple of NASCAR Cup Series stars go at it at Kansas, and it has led to fireworks. And 44 overdrove the exit and at turn number 2, and now Shearburn back in control by 6 car lengths.
And we rode on board with the 32 of Leahy. How about that run that he had at a turn 2, trying to catch up to Isaac? And now we got a battle for position number 2 as Shearburn tries to pull away from the rest of the field. Keegan Leahy goes to the inside for P2.
Well, we've talked a lot about your previous winners at the intermediate tracks this year, Luza and as well Clampett. No surprise that the 1.5 mile winners are fast at the 1.5 mile track. Tim, the third other intermediate racetrack winner this year, Keegan Leahy, with that pass up to second position, fighting to become the first driver this year with 2 race wins, which, who knows, that may be the benchmark when it comes to locking yourself into the postseason. It was win and you're in, but with 14 regular season races and only 10 playoff spots, if we continue at the rate at which the season has started, 1 may not guarantee you a spot in the fight for the better part of $300,000. But what this has done is it has allowed Shearburn to build a bit of a bubble. Leahy in second, riding the bottom. Gann in third, riding the top. It'll be interesting to see if they can keep touch with that 36 car as he tries to close it in the distance. Look at Gann now to the bumper of the 32. Leahy responds by going up and taking that lane away from the 44. The lap prior to that, Leahy was on the bottom. Gann got close. He went up top and took that line away. So some defensive driving from the VRS Toyota Camry for 2311 racing up the road. And enter Logan Clampett. Slid back off of that restart, but sitting in position number 4 right now. Wants to join this trio as Chris Shearburn's pulling away now in the race lead to the tune of about 1/10 of a second per lap. But as Chris Shearburn now tries to stretch this out and lead, coming to 34 laps to go, we'll step aside one final time. You're watching the Kansas 200 on the iRacing Esports Network.
This Coca-Cola Zero Sugar tastes mighty delicious.
Come on, buddy.
But
If you keep lying like this, you'll be a puppet forever.
It's the honest truth.
You're right. It's delicious.
I never lie.
I am in awe of your bravery, your selflessness, your strength. For the millions of ways you keep us safe, I am only here because of your sacrifice. And I am not going to stop until each and every one of you is recognized for what you do for this country. And for that, I am forever grateful. I am NASCAR.
And back live from the virtual Kansas Speedway, coverage of tonight's race brought to you by Coca-Cola, the official fan refreshment of eNASCAR. And by Asus, the official gaming hardware partner of the eNASCAR Coca-Cola iRacing Series. Not all with the side-by-side action, no change at the front of the field. Chris Shearburn opening things up 9/10 of a second ahead of Keegan Leahy in second. There's a look at Isaac Gann in third. Logan Clampett, Graham Bolin. The rest of your top 5 runners at the moment. Chris Shearburn, a race winner in the 2020 season finale at Phoenix Raceway. Looking to pick up another trip to victory lane and is in an opportune time to do so as they have started to spread out just a little bit.
We didn't see this on the first run, but we also saw a lot of side-by-side racing between Chris Shearburn and Ryan Luza. Luza caught up in that big wreck about 20 laps ago, so his chances of getting a second victory this season at least aren't going to happen here this evening, Evan. And that wreck took out a lot of big names, Steven Wilson being one of them. We talked about him being so strong. Casey Kerwin led the points a little bit earlier this season. He's out of it. There's a lot of big names. Mitchell DeYoung was in it. That changed a lot of things. The one thing it didn't change for Chris Shearburn is he's still up front, and now he has an opportunity to try to stretch his legs a little bit over these guys running for second and third. Isaac Gann doing a great job here in third, trying to chase down the 32.
It was quite a drastic change for this race, Tim. Half of the cars who started inside of the top 10 are now running outside of the top 30, and most of them on the hook. In this case, that's Nichols, Kerwin, Zelensky, along with Luza and DeYoung. So those were 5 of your top 10 cars, and now they're in the bottom half of the field. So it did take out some fast runners, and honestly thought, Tim, that maybe when Gann got that clean air, he was going to check out, but kudos to Shearburn and Leahy for fighting back as we check in on the battle between the 10 and the 9 cars, led by Bolin in the number 5 spot. Michael Guest trying to close in. I know you gave a shout out to Guest there, Tim, the highest running driver in the points so far this year, yet to win a race. Looks like he's driving from the back cave on the left-hand side of your screen, but it has been a stellar start to the year for that number 9 Big Green Egg team.
So here's the other thing I'm going to bring up to that point, Evan. You look at the points and drivers who don't have wins. Steven Wilson out of the race. Bobby Zelensky out of the race. Nick Ottinger's been a non-factor tonight. He's just riding outside the top 20 right now. Matt Busa's kind of in that position to gain some points here tonight. Corey Vincent, we haven't really talked about Corey Vincent all night long, but he's running in the top 20. But out of those drivers that I just mentioned, Michael Guest stands to gain a lot. So if there is a position to point your way into the top 10, and that is a very loose and fluid term right about now, Michael Guest is doing what he has to do to get up there and get all the points that he can. Let's ride on board with Michael Conti as he looks pretty focused right about now talking to his crew.
And that's about the furthest thing from a Formula wheel we can see. I mean, that thing looks like it's straight out of a Camaro ZL1, for Hendrick Motorsports, or in one of those Xfinity Camaros for Junior Motorsports. And does he have a full-on race seat as well? So Michael Conti's got quite the setup, but I'm sure WR1 treating him well as he sports their colors, going way to the inside, trying to get around that 41 of Dylan Duval, Tim, who we mentioned off at the top of the race in his 100th career start in this series. So big tip of the cap to him as we go a little bit further back. The battle is for 11th. Ashton Crowder in the Nutrient Ag Solutions entry machine. I mean, he feels like he's been in a lot of these battles. Every time we look, number 1 Toyota is in some sort of a fight, and right now it is on the door of Jake Nichols.
And look who's behind them. How about Blade Witt? Led some laps early through the strategy, got kind of kicked back to the curb, was running about 30-something-ish when that big wreck happened, and that car looks clean. If he can pick up a couple of spots here as these guys battle in front of him, it might be a top 10 run. It's not the playbook top 10 run that you would think, Evan, but he's gone to work tonight.
He has been putting in the work and making the moves. Not the only driver to be way up. When you have cars crash out, there's drivers to take advantage of that. But, I mean, this group, Crowder, Nichols, and Witt behind them, by the way, Tim, who actually really benefited from the time of the yellow, even though it didn't work out on his strategy. He slices to the inside. This trio is plus 25, 27, and 20 spots respectively. They are all big movers coming from the back and maybe trying to get 1 or 2 more spots to crack the top 10.
Still plenty of laps to get it done as we ride on board with Matt Busa. He's got his hands completely full here with the traffic in front of him and the traffic below him.
He dots that the outside lane's going to be the place to be. Ride it in line with the 14 up on the bottom. Hello, Malik Ray. Haven't talked much about that Space Station Racing team. The Ford of Malik Ray started way back in 36th. He is cash money tonight, up 19 spots from the start of this race. And here comes Ray Alfala, Tim. Our friends on the Countdown to Green were beating up on poor Ray over the weekend at Talladega. It has not been a year to remember for the 4-time series champion, but he is sporting those Rowdy Energy colors well tonight in his Toyota, up about 11 spots or so in P17.
You know, he had a tweet earlier today, and he said it's been a season that it seems like he's been 3 wide all by himself, and the cliche was there's 3 different Rowdy Energy flavors that are going to be on that car here in the next couple of weeks, but I think the cliche kind of works for both. It just, Ray gets caught up wrong place, wrong time, and it ends up being the 38th in points that we talked about on the outside of the show and on the Countdown to Green show. But this is Ray Alfala. He's coming to the front of the field. He's picking off cars as he can, and this might be a top 10 run for the 51.
And in that theme, Tim, of supporting those who support this series, take every opportunity I can to go and grab some Rowdy Energy at Terrible Herbst here in town. And I think everybody else in town loves it because it's so hard to find it. So looking forward to trying out some of those new flavors as they continue to roll out and as we see them on Ray's car over the course of the season, as we're on board with our Coca-Cola onboard camera with the 3 of Corey Vincent riding in P18. I think Team Dillard Esports, Tim, has got the bases covered, right? It's the Coca-Cola onboard, it's the Coke Cherry Vanilla paint scheme, and Coca-Cola Zero Sugar on the backdrop. Are we missing any?
I think we got it pretty much all covered. I'm a fan of Diet Coke. There's a couple more that are out there, but Corey's doing a great job. Kind of quiet compared to what we're used to seeing out of Corey Vincent finish-wise, but came into this evening, when you look down the list, 12th in points per se, when you factor up all the wins as well. So trying to get a finish here. And how about Chris Shearburn? Chris trying to lock down a win with 15 laps to go. And the one thing we mentioned off the start, Evan, 6 races, 6 different winners, and 6 different teams going to victory lane. If it continues, it would be a 7th, and it would be a 7th on the team side with Letard Esports.
Yeah, I think that might be the more impressive part, more than the drivers, right? Is that it has been, to this point, 6 different winners, but 6 different teams. You're right. Junior Motorsports, 2311, XSET, William Byron Esports, Klickerman Sport, and Space Station Racing. So that's the 6 thus far. Will we see Letard Esports added to the list? The Jesus colors looking fast up front, Tim, and this time by, he will see 13 laps to go. He's checked out. 1.7 seconds ahead of the next closest driver. There's a little bit of lap traffic up the road into Bobby Zelensky. That's about all, as Ryan Luza is down pit road, lost the engine on the 4 car. He was 25 laps down. Tim dominated tonight at the get-go, right? Best in practice, best in queue. Thought maybe he was going to be the first repeat winner. Unfortunate end for his XZ entry, but already a race winner at Vegas, so not that much maybe to sweat about yet. But, you know, historically, Tim, we don't see big runs like this, right? You know, last year it took 3 races. Fun fact, actually, speaking of Ryan Luza, Tim, you want to know the first driver to get multiple wins in all of the last 4 years was Ryan Luza. So he's been kind of the staple mark of consistency. The only other times we saw 6 different race winners was 2014, where it took Mike Conti till round 7 to get the second race win. In 2010, the first ever year of this eNASCAR Coca-Cola iRacing Series, where we had 7 different winners in the first 7. That one took till round 8 before Richard Towler won a second.
And we might be shaping up for a 7th, and you mentioned a road course coming up the road, no pun intended, in the next round. Yeah, we might see an 8th as well if Chris Shearburn continues to do what he's doing here and take away a victory. These victories are hard to come by. He won one last year at the very end, and you ride on board here, and this is in the middle of the hornet's nest. There's the McLaren Shadow entry of Blake Reynolds right ahead, and there is Garrett Lowe, and it's kind of been an off season for Garrett Lowe. He's had a couple of good finishes, starting to turn the wick up a little bit here, Evan. But compared to previous seasons, it's kind of been quiet for this Wood Brothers entry.
Yeah, both he and his teammate John Gorlinski right alongside each other in the points, and Garrett looking for his second top 10 of the year, maybe a little bit more if he can do something about it, looking to the inside of Blake Reynolds. But that 29 car, by the way, funded with the Zach Nichols, not for position. So if the 20, or I should say, if Nichols in the 29, they get by him. If Garrett on the 21 doesn't drop, he's fine, but he's got Nathan Lyon all over the back of him. So some critical late laps for that spin.app Ford Mustang for the Wood Brothers. Started back in P26, right? Qualifying's not the end-all be-all, up 16 spots. And to that Ryan Luza point, Tim, first time a pole sitter this year has DNF'd a race. So tough break for that crew.
And these drivers with 10 laps to go, middle of the pack, trying to pick up what they can and salvage what they can with getting a couple of extra points and move themselves a little bit closer towards the top of the heap. But still plenty to be decided middle of the pack with only 9 laps left to go. Looking at Chris Shearburn and Keegan Leahy, looking at lap times, Evan, they've kind of gone back and forth a little bit. The bad news, they might be evenly matched when it comes to speed. The bad news is that there's 1.7 seconds in between the two as we ride on board with hometown boy Nathan Lyon.
And he's the one on the attack here, looking to the outside of that number 21 machine, staying in line. It looks like that Garrett Lowe, Tim, now has moved up to the outside, seeing that's where that number 6 Ford wants to be, trying to take the line away from the Hy-Vee Mustang.
You get what you can here in these last couple of laps. Get what positions that you can. Just behind them, you saw a couple of the drivers jockeying for position. The 6 car drives it in deep down into corner number 3 to try to get everything that he can, and he's not going to get it off of corner number 4. But you gotta throw them on the table right now and try to get every position that you can here and hope that nobody makes a mistake, especially if you're Chris Shearburn out in front. You want to see this thing green to the end.
That is all he is hoping for. The reason I mentioned the lap traffic up the road a few laps ago is because aside from either him messing it up on his own, that could be the only concern for him. If there is an incident back in traffic, it is out of his hands. He doesn't need a sweat. He's got 1.7 seconds. But Tim, I can promise you, these are going to be about the longest 6 laps that Chris Shearburn's felt in quite some time.
Well, he did get that win last year at Homestead, and I'm sure that was a little bit of a monkey off his back, but at the end of it, there was also a championship on the line, so wants to get this one and wants to put a big, huge exclamation point on this, but this battle right here, coming to 5 to go, will not go away.
And that's not what your leader wants to see, his cars side by side and not willing to give up, as that 6-car Lion has finally gotten underneath the number 21 machine up the road of Garrett Lowe, but he's not alongside yet. We've seen the inside win out in battles. We've seen the outside win out in just as many battles as well. Even up the road, some lap traffic given some issues to the likes of Reynolds and Duvall, but this is it right here, and the 6-car can't get that speed on the bottom off of 2. He'll tuck back in line, looking for 4 laps to go this time by.
And you know what? You mentioned Chris Shearburn doesn't want to see this. He wants to see this in his rearview mirror, but it's far enough in his rearview mirror that he can't even see it. Let them battle as long as they don't get sideways, as Michael Conti trying to pick up one more on Michael Guest late in this race, trying to track him down. This is the battle for 6th.
Out of sight, out of mind. I would not be surprised as we look at the battle between Michael Guest and Michael Conti if his spotter's not even letting him know what's going on and just telling him to worry about his own race. As Conti this time the car on the bottom. In both instances, Tim, the battle for 9th or 10th position, I should say the battle for 6th, the car defending, parking it in the top side, and forcing that attacking car to try to make it work down low.
And he's got to get it to work, and he's got to get it to work very soon because we've got 2.5 laps left to go. So if you're Michael Guest, you don't have to defend for long. If you're Michael Conti, you might want to sail it on in.
And you can see when the 9 had some more distance, he went a little bit lower in 1 and 2. Conti closed the gap, went right back up top. It's very clear the 9 does not want the 8 to get outside of him with 2 laps to go.
And now for Chris Shearburn up in front. You mentioned the last couple of laps, Evan. Hit your marks, make sure that you don't make a mistake. He and Keegan Leahy have been back and forth with fastest laps, but Chris Shearburn hasn't been able to let Keegan close the gap. And Shearburn may be on the way to picking up a win. Would be the 7th different winner if he can. White flag.
White flag in the air. This race is official. Both he and his Latardi sports teammate Bobby Zelensky come into this one inside of the top 12 in the points, but a potential golden ticket could make this one so much sweeter. Chris Shearburn is home free as he heads into turns 3 and 4, and for the first time since 2010, we'll see our 7th different winner in the opening 7 races of the year. Out of turn 4, checkered flag at Kansas to Chris Shearburn. And a fist pump to boot the rest of the cars, some of them 3 wide to the stripe as they fight all the way to the dire end. But Chris Shearburn, 7th different driver, representing a 7th different win to get a checkered flag here to kick off 2021. And Tim Terry, we expanded the playoffs this year to 10 drivers. We are officially halfway through the regular season, and 7 of those spots are filled. This winning moment is brought to you by Coca-Cola, the official fan refreshment of eNASCAR.
And the one thing we saw out of Chris Shearburn was emotion as he lights it up against the safer barrier and smokes what's left of those tires off. We're not used to seeing a whole lot of emotion at a driver number 36, but we did see it there, at least when he came off of turn number 4, Evan, and he could see the checkered flag in sight.
And he held composure to the end, but once he knew he had it, this means so much. And there's a reason I didn't say punches his ticket to the playoffs, because I don't know if a win holds as much weight as it did back in Daytona. Blow up the engine. You don't need to save it for the next race. That's the benefit of racing in the sim. What a job by Chris Shearburn. Let's take a look at our Coca-Cola move of the race. And remember this battle, Tim. Isaac Gann put quite the move on him to take that spot away, but the 36 went right back on the offensive and took it back.
Working the inside. He's done that many times this evening. Did it on the first run with Ryan Luza. So I think that might have prepared him a little bit for this little battle for the lead and eventually the win.
Gets the nose in front and right here. Slides up at a turn 4. Gann goes for the crossover, blocks him all the way down to the grass, and nobody could catch him after that. Chris Shearburn cruising to race win here tonight at Kansas Speedway. Tim, you were talking with the driver of the 36 machine, Chris Shearburn, now a 2-time winner in the eNASCAR Coca-Cola iRacing Series.
Chris, it's the 2nd win of your career in this series, but none bigger now. 7th different winner. How big is this?
Oh, this is huge. This is by far my biggest win ever, I think. First, I got to thank Steve Letarte for believing in me. Stuck with me ever since he got into this series. ASUS North America for being on board the last couple of weeks. I'm glad we got them a win. Virtual Racing School for being on board this year. RacingJobs.com. Everybody at Coanda, Keegan, Mitchell, Bobby. all the work everybody put into it. I can't believe. I mean, this is by far my best race ever.
You put the boots on and went to work on that inside line at the start with Ryan Lewis and then at the end with Isaac Gann. It looked difficult from up here, but how difficult was it from inside that race car to get those moves done on the inside?
It was hard. I really didn't think I was ever going to be able to pull off a pass. I got close a couple of times with Luza. I was a lot closer than I thought I was going to. I was glad I tried to short pit on him to get in front of him to get the clean air, and it worked out. I was able to get the clean air on the pit stops and start pulling away from him before the yellow came out. But yeah, with Isaac, I can't believe he got in front of me. I thought I had it once he couldn't get me the first couple laps, but managed to get in front of me, threw a block on me, and I had to get back into second, and then I reeled back in. I honestly didn't think I was going to be able to pass him back, but this car was amazing on the bottom 2 lanes. I don't think I was very good on the top, but it was definitely probably the best it could be in the middle of the bottom.
7 races, 7 different winners. Evan mentioned the list is getting full. How much pressure is off now, though?
Really not. I was thinking before the season started that you could probably. I knew for sure you'd see more than 10 winners by the end of the year, and I think it's very possible to see 10 winners or maybe 11 winners. But if we get 11, then you got to be up high enough in the points. So we still got our work cut out for us. This is going to help. This will get us back up close to the top 5, I think. We definitely got to stay in the top 20, but we got to stay up there in the points too, just in case 10 or 11 guys win.
It's always good to see you in victory lane, Chris. Go celebrate.
All right, thanks, guys.
That's Chris Shearburn. Another win in this series, 2nd career victory and 1st this season. But now we'll slide over and chat with Keegan Leahy, 2nd place run here this evening for driver number 32. Keegan, what else did you need there to try to get that victory away from Chris Shearburn?
I needed clean air. It's such an advantage out front. Me and Chris worked together, actually, so we were on the same setups, and we were practicing all week together, so I know he's very competent at this track, to say the least, and I didn't have anything for him at the end. Just want to say thanks to my spotter, Matt Bontempi. He talked me through that one. I was pretty resigned to finishing 7th again for the 4th race in a row, but he kept me positive there. I know he's feeling kind of low these last couple of days. We just came up on a 2nd anniversary of his grandmother's passing, so thinking of him and happy to have a positive light on today. End of the day, positive team result too.
So the good news is we got a couple of weeks off before our next race, and we mentioned earlier, I think there's 3 road courses and 6 races coming up. Are you looking forward to the schedule coming up?
Okay, so I have good results at road courses. The problem is I have to put in 40 hours of work minimum driving on track to get up to pace, because I don't do much road course racing. I can't rely on any natural talent, I don't think, so I gotta put in the work, especially to keep up with Mitchell DeYoung and Bobby Zelensky. Those guys are going to be the ones to beat for sure.
Well, we're fighting a lockdown, so you got some time. Stay safe, my friend, and congratulations on 2nd.
Thanks, Tim. Shout out to Virtual Racing School on the Hood. Thanks to those guys and everyone that I collaborate with.
That's Keegan Leahy coming home position number 2. And our 3rd place finisher this evening is Isaac Gann. And Isaac, I believe, is joined by a couple of friends. How frantic was it next door the last couple of laps, Isaac?
How about it, guys? So, as you can probably see, they're pretty excited. And I don't know. I mean, we are so close. I made a comment as soon as the race ended. We just keep doing like a Matt Kenseth impression because we're so close, and I wanted that win so bad. And when I got in front of Chris, I thought I could hold him off just because clean air is so important. But those guys just had unbelievable speed, and I don't think even if I could have stayed in front of them for a few more laps and kind of got a little bit of a gap, I still don't know if I could have held them off the whole time because they were just so fast. But got to thank Valvoline and Kligerman Sport, David Schildhouse, Presley Gilson, Brad Wright, Brody Kostecki, everybody else that helps me out and works on the setups. And, it's been a good season. We got a hard stretch of the schedule now, so just got to keep on the grind.
How about that move on Chris to take the lead? I'm sure it had everybody pumped up.
Yeah, I heard him out in the other room. It was almost distracting, but it was a good distracting because, I was just I knew that if I could get him cleared, I thought, okay, maybe I have a shot. And yeah, I could hear they were pretty hyped. So these are, just to give everybody an idea, these are all my friends and college roommates and everyone that lives here in the dorm. And I'm a senior, I'm graduating, so I'm only going to be here for about another week. So the next time you guys see me on racing, I'm going to be in a different room by myself. There's not going to be anybody around. So we kind of did this just as a send-off, I guess.
Well, you guys are in the midst of finals, right? So you're looking forward to a couple of weeks off on this side of the series, right?
Oh my gosh, yes. I think we have 3 weeks off now until COTA, which I'm going to need that because COTA is hard. I know Mitchell and Bobby are going to be nuts there. So, and Jimmy Mullis and a lot of those other guys. So, yeah, finals week is coming up next week. So I'm glad I got a little bit of a break now to just kind of focus on that because it's. We almost didn't do this because we were all busy like studying and everything, but we made it happen. So this is really cool.
Well, if this is the last time we're going to have this together, give these boys another pump and let's get the action going to COTA.
Yeah, he said get him going, get him going.
That's awesome. Isaac, congratulations.
Appreciate it, Tim. Thank you.
That's Isaac Gann and Evan. What a show! Top 3 finishers, all pumped up from that one, and a great race at Kansas. Some great racing, and Chris Shearburn, another win in this series.
Great night. Let's take a look at your Coca-Cola full race results. The final margin of victory, 1.8 seconds over Keegan Leahy, who comes home P2, and Isaac Gann in third. Appreciate those guys jumping in and talking to us here post-race. Logan Clampett and Graham Boland end up inside of the top 5, and Michael Guest in 6th. Michael Conti loses the battle of the mics for P7. Blake Reynolds comes home at 8th. Dylan Duvall, a top 10 showing, and Nathan Lyon rounds out your top 10.
And Garrett Lowe just outside of the top 10 in 11th. Jake Nichols in 12th. Blade Witt, Matt Busa, Ray Alfala to 15th. Bob Bryant recovering to 16th. Corey Vincent in 17th. Ashton Crowder 18th. Malik Ray in 19th. And Ryan Doucette top 20 effort.
Second half of the field kicked off by Jacob Matheson, Vicente Salas 22nd, Egottinger, last year's winner here, non-factor 23rd, with Brad Davies sliding to 24th, and Garrett Maines recovering from a pit road spin for 25th. Kane Cook fell off to 26th, Derek Justice 27th, but John Gorlinski, Zach Novak wrecked it out, and Brian Schoenberg in 30th.
Zach Nichols 1 lap down, Taylor Hurst 1 lap down, and then these drivers had a little bit of trouble. Alan Bowes, Bobby Zielinski, Mitchell DeYoung, Ryan Luza, Casey Kerwin, not a great night for Exet in 36 and 37. Stephen Wilson 38th, Jimmy Mullis 39th, and Femi Olot early in the race blowing a motor, finishing in 40th.
Looked at the bottom at your full race results, and how about a first-time trip to Circuit of the Americas in virtual Austin, Texas. Tim, a couple of weeks off. We're back on May the 18th. It kicks off a streak of 3 road course races in 6 rounds. But the first time you'll see NASCAR stock cars at a race at COTA going to be here on iRacing.
There is some optimism from some of these drivers, as you heard from Keegan Leahy, and then there's that other side of trying to put the work in to keep up with Mitchell DeYoung, Bobby Zielinski, Vicente Salas. There's some names there that you're going to have to be on your game in order to get a victory out of a road course. And let's see here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7 different winners now. So I think we might see another one the next time we race, but who is it going to be?
The odds would say Bobby Zielinski is going to be feeling pretty good, right, Tim? I mean, oftentimes it's a battle for second, but Mitchell DeYoung is the big question mark coming into this one, right? The driver for 2311, also an iRacing World Championship driver in the Porsche Esports Super Cup. So that could be a big challenge. Now not used to driving around these big clunky stock cars, but he knows his way around a road course. So could we see somebody challenge Bobby Zielinski? And not only that, it's not like we're going to Watkins Glen, right, where Bobby's got a track record, or going to Sonoma. He's going to be fast, don't get me wrong, but COTA is a new challenge for everybody. So they're all going to be basically starting from scratch for this one. Very dissimilar to a lot of the other road courses that we go to. So it'll be really interesting to see who could adapt quickest. That's going to be a race where we're not going to have a yellow for one car spit it off in a sand trap, Tim. So you can strategize out that race, and maybe it'll come down to that.
Here's the other thing with Bobby Zielinski and Mitchell DeYoung after tonight. They got a chip on their shoulder. They finished on that 4th page when it came to results. So they have to rebound. So not only is it, yes, we're good at road courses, yeah, we're coming off a race at Kansas that we want to forget and put in the rear view mirror. So there's that side of it too. There's still 3 weeks to get it done, get that practice in. And I go back to the start of the night when Chris Overland talked about we're going to continue the momentum and have 7 winners in 7 different races. I think Chris and I think I can make the bold prediction. I think we're going to have 8, though in those 7 winners, we do have some drivers that like road courses. Going to be interesting in a few weeks when we hit COTA.
You're not going to want to miss it. 7 down and 7 races to go in the regular season, but that's it for us here tonight from the virtual Kansas Speedway. I want to remind you to log on to iRacing.com, where every day is race day, and get involved. But for our entire team who makes this possible, and the crew downstairs, and for your broadcast team tonight, for Tim Terry and myself, Evan Pasoko, I want to thank you for tuning in and congratulate Chris Shearburn, the 7th golden ticket holder who gets the race win tonight from Kansas. We're back in 3 weeks' time on Tuesday, May the 18th, for an inaugural trip to COTA. That race and every race of the 2021 eNASCAR Coca-Cola iRacing Series can be found exclusively here on the iRacing Esports Network and streaming live at eNASCAR.com. Until next time, good night from Kansas, where Chris Shearburn takes home the win.